Hey, what's going on, guys? Indie Pride here, back with Milk and Cookies Total War, and I have another Rome replay for you today. And this one is a 3v3 I played with two of my good friends. On my right is the one and only Sir Tree of Arbor, using the Greek city-states and their armored hoplites. He's got a hoplite core, 6 of those, I believe, gold upgrades, some 2 Cretan archers, bunch of regular archers, and a bunch of militia cavalry, which are javelin throwing cavalry, so they are not very good at cav versus cav fights, but they are good at harassing an enemy. I am in the middle here. I'm the Scythians. They are much like Armenia and the Parthians, except they they basically just have ballsack infantry like the other two factions, the really bad infantry. 2 axemen are really my only good infantry in this game, and they're not even good infantry, really. They do have gold upgrades, I believe, but they aren't good. They're just going to be to tie down enemy units. A 6 archer warband and 1 chosen archer warband, and 6 headhunting maidens, which are the best light cavalry unit in the game. They can actually do a ton of damage to really any cavalry unit, even cataphracts. They have an armor piercing ability, and they're just... Let's zoom down and look at them, because they're a pretty crazy looking unit. Really powerful unit. Just a bunch of girls with axes, so that's kind of hot. And one thing I've noticed about this game, and I would love for someone to explain it, why are trees so big in this game? If you look at the tree stand that's right in front of my headhunting maidens right here, that's insane. Like, that's the biggest tree I've ever seen. We're in Italy right now, so I'm not sure why the trees are that big. But, yeah, so that was interesting. But there's something really weird in this game. We're going to press play right now. We're going to shift over to... Actually, I think all of our enemies were Macedon. But we're going to look at my enemy across from me, who's hidden in the trees at the moment, but should reveal himself in a couple seconds. He has elephants. He has armored elephants. And Macedon doesn't have access to elephants. And we were kind of confused by that, and I went into Battlelist the next game to see if they did, and I was correct in my assumption they did not have elephants. So I was really confused by that. I don't know if he was hacking or had a mod or what it was, but he honestly has a garbage army. He only has elephants, and as soon as we notice that he's going to run his elephants at me, we're just all going to turn to him and fire our flaming arrows at them and get them to run amok, and he's not going to be able to do anything about it. He does have some Macedonian cavalry coming out. He basically just cav spammed. He had a bunch of really highly upgraded Macedonian cav and some armored elephants. So if anyone knows why he had elephants or if he was hacking or what, please feel free to tell me what was up with that. He gets up on my flank really quick, though. I didn't notice him right away because we were trying to double this other Macedonian player. So he is going to get into some of my archers, and I am honestly kind of vulnerable to that, but I am going to send my headhunting maidens in to kill, and of course I'm going to be struck by the annoying bug of where you tell them to run and they don't. I swear if Rome 2 doesn't have run as the default, I'm going to be extremely angry, because having to hit run every time you move a unit is extremely frustrating, and I don't like doing that at all. But he's going to get 2 Macedonian cavalry past my headhunting maidens, and so that's not going to be good, obviously. But we do have... Uncle Tim is backing me up with his cataphracts, and he's going to be able to save most of my archers and kill those Macedonian cav. We're going to rout them off the field really quick, and my headhunting maidens made short work of his cavalry as well. But I do not want to get into a cavalry fight with those heavy armored elephants that he's bringing in now. So I'm just going to retreat, and we're really going to kind of just back all of our guys out of there as one of my headhunting maidens gets completely run over by those elephants. Again, they're not running when I tell them to run. It's so frustrating. I can't stress that enough. Trying to press run when they don't just sucks. But his elephants are now tied down against all those cataphracts, and I'm going to turn flaming arrows on and shoot into that little melee blob. Get those guys running off the field, because like, elephants really are not anything to be scared of in this game, because as soon as you shoot flaming arrows at them, they just run amok, and they become useless. You can't control them anymore. And so they're just going to pretty much run around the field doing nothing. But I just need to get all my archers out of there because I obviously don't want them to lose or lose anymore. And they are now running amok and will run over. Oh my god, he just ran over his own archers. I didn't see that the first time. He just ran through his own archers, killed half that unit, and is still running through his archers. So that's brilliant. Oh, I love that. My general just died, which is not good. Again, it doesn't really matter. Generals in this game are not super important. It's not like Shogun where there's a huge morale penalty. There is a morale penalty, but this is a 3v3. And honestly, all I'm going to be doing is just providing the missile force for the phalanxes of Tim and Tree of Arbor. So those elephants are off the field now. My cavalry is in decent shape. I still have plenty of cavalry left. 2 horse archers, and I'm going to send my axemen up to reinforce the rest of these phalanxes. Now, way over there on the left-hand side of this battle, Alexander is another Macedonian army, and he's going to do a really bad job of helping out his teammates. They would have been in decent shape if he had run up to help his teammates, but he's just going to sit back, and we've already taken care of one guy's army, the guy with the elephants. His army's already gone, and so really this is going to be kind of like a 1v3, and obviously this Macedonian player, Time to Kill, is going to have trouble dealing with this because he's dealing with 3 different armies. I'm going to bring all my archers up, and Tim and Tree are moving their hoplites and phalanxes up to engage with these royal pikemen. Now, like I said in the last battle I posted, Armenian heavy spearmen cannot really do that well versus royal pikemen, but we have tons of cavalry that we can flank around, and we have all these archers that are shooting in all these phalanxes, so the fire attacks won't do tons of damage because the phalanxes are facing forward and their shields are really good at stopping arrows, but we're going to be able to do a lot of damage to these phalanxes, and I'm going to try to get my axemen and other units up closer to the battle so I can start shooting in more. I'm trying to route all of Time to Kill's infantry or cavalry, but the problem here is that you can see behind all of our archers, behind Sir Tree, he had one unit here that routed and came back from routing, a companion cav, and they're gonna, like I said, one cavalry unit in this game can rout like 6 or 7 archer units by itself. We noticed it though. I'm gonna send my headhunting maidens in, and I'm gonna try to kill those as quickly as possible before it can do too much damage to me, or Sir Tree's archers. I get a nice charge off of my headhunting maidens, and I'm gonna be able to rout those guys off the field really quick. So the phalanx battle is going in our favor. Tim got some cataphracts through the middle of that phalanx formation and is getting some nice hammer and anvils off. He's doing a good job with his cataphracts. And the Macedonian line is starting to wave a little bit. I have my headhunting maidens in Macedon's rear, just routing all his archers, getting those guys off the field ASAP. And so this Time to Kill is pretty much off the field now, and we'll be able to shift our attention to the last Macedonian player. But here comes a ton of cav from Alexander, and we aren't quite in a position to defend against that cavalry at the moment. So we have a ton of archers that are kind of exposed, and all our cavalry is over on that side of the field. So he is going to be able to do a lot of damage to us. As soon as we see it, we're going to start sending our cavalry over to take care of these guys, because as soon as we get them off the field, we'll start to have a real control of this battle and be able to really kind of do what we want. But there's just a mass rout. I mean, tons of archers just routed, and so that companion cav did a ton of damage to us. I mean, let's look at this. There's 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 archer units just routed. I'm gonna send my barbarian chosen warlord, my general, in to try to tie these guys down. My general's already dead, so I'm just gonna use them as a normal cavalry unit, and we're gonna shoot in to this cavalry and with the archers and try to get them off the field, because they're just being an extreme nuisance right now. Sir Tree is sending in his militia cav to kill the companion cav. There's no way they're gonna win that, but again, just trying to tie them down so they don't kill any more archers. And finally, the cataphracts and my horse archers are over here, and we're going to try to get these guys off the field, and they're really close to routing. Only 30 men left in that unit, and as soon as they touch those cataphracts, they're going to rout. So they're gone, and we no longer have much to fear from their cavalry. Well, actually, no, he has one more companion cav left, but again, we're going to kill them with my headhunting maidens, get them off the field too. And we're going to get ready for this final engagement against this final phalanx of Alexander here. I thought this was a really interesting battle, though, because, well, first, cinematic-wise, I think it's just very epic. I mean, there's 3 different armies and a snowy kind of map. This is one of my favorite maps in the game. I've noticed that everybody likes playing on grassy flatlands, and I've never been a huge fan of playing on flat maps like that. I understand that in the Rome community that it's one of the favorite maps, and I can understand that, but I'm just not a big fan of it. I think it's just boring, and I like to keep some variety going in when I play Total War, and like to play on a bunch of different maps with a bunch of different weather effects. And so this was a nice change of pace for me, because this might have been my first battle ever that wasn't on a map like grassy flatlands or British flatlands or all those kind of flat kind of maps. Anyway, I'm gonna get my horse archers coming up here, start skirmishing away with Macedon. Now, what we want to do is we want to target these Cretan archers. Our archers are not going to be able to do much damage to the royal pikemen. Like I said, they have really good shields, and so archer fire from the front won't do much damage to them. But Cretan archers are actually a pretty dangerous archer unit. They're more elite than the normal archer unit, and they have longer range. But Alexander is not in loose formation at the moment, and I'm not sure that he actually puts them in loose formation, which you should always do. Archers should always go into loose formation and kind of spread them out so they don't get bunched up and shot really easily. And I'm going to start this engagement off with my archers because most of Tim's and Tree's were routed off the field. But mine are still intact, and we're going to just get this skirmish battle going here. Fire attack into... And it was at this point that I realized I was shooting at the... Actually, I don't know how many volleys I shoot into his pikemen, but I realized that I'm not doing very much damage, and so I switch targets pretty soon here. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to get the phalanx units in the front, just to tie down those royal pikemen, and then any cavalry that we have left, which honestly isn't much now, we're going to try to get around the flanks. And we do... Tim has a horse archer unit, I have 2 horse archer units, and we're going to get those on the flank and just try to shoot in on these Cretan archers. Tim's doing a good job of targeting these Cretans, and they've already lost 20 men. And they're going down even faster now. Some of my archers are shooting in as well. And really, we're going to force Macedon to come to us, because as soon as he loses those archer units, he won't have any skirmishing, and he only has 1 companion cav, or 2 companion cavalry left. Again, they're good heavy cavalry, but headhunting maidens have the armored piercing ability, so they aren't great versus these light cav of mine. And obviously I have some hoplites to back my cavalry up. There, my flaming arrows go into his Cretan archers, and we're just whittling those guys down. And pretty soon here, they're going to be routed off the field. I mean, he's in really bad shape, because he basically has to face 3 armies at the moment. And his royal pikemen are really good units, but they really are going to have trouble when they're exposed like this, because he has to come to us and kind of expose his flank to any cavalry that we have left, and archer fire as well. Really, what he should have done at this point was he should have gotten his guys out of phalanx, run up to my axemen, and gotten any, or maybe those hoplites of Tree, which are all by themselves, and gotten them off the field ASAP. But instead of doing that, he goes into phalanx way too early and kind of gives up his ability to micro quickly and effectively, and so he's just kind of getting separated from his main body and exposing his flank to archer fire. As you can see, Tree's archers are shooting in the rear of his pikemen, which will do a lot more damage than shooting on them from the front, and so he is now beginning to lose tons of guys to our archer units as well. And those pikemen cannot catch up to my archers or my axemen. I'm not going to engage in an infantry fight until I'm ready to do so. And Tree's phalanxes are coming up on the flank now. He's going to have to respond to that. And again, he will expose his flank to archer fire as soon as he turns to fight those hoplites. Timmy's missile cav is coming in, and he's going to put them into melee mode. No reason to shoot arrows at them when he can just route them with a charge. And so all those are routed off the field now, and he only has a few pikemen left. And I'm going to commit my axemen now to just tie down those phalanxes, hit him on the flank. Right here you can see his general just died, and I hit one of his phalanxes on the flank with my axemen. And he is just in massive trouble now, and there's really no way he's going to win. I will say though that archers in this game are much more important than they are maybe in any other Total War game. You can get away in Medieval 2 and Shogun 2 without using archer units in Rome, and like I'm sure plenty of you know this because, like I said, many of you are probably more experienced on this game than I am. But I have noticed that almost everyone brings 6 or 7 archer units, and you really need to have that many archers if you want to be able to. If you want to win. Rushing doesn't work particularly effectively a lot of the time in this game because a smart player will just kite you with his archers, which run faster than any other infantry unit, and you won't really be able to do much. He'll just kind of whittle you to death. This replay is almost over though now. He only has, all his pikemen are routed off the field. He only has 2 companion cav left, and they are going to manage to rout tons of archer units. That's aggravating to me. One thing I really don't like about this game is how, like I said, one tiny little archer or cavalry unit with like half strength can just rout all of your archers off the field, and I think that's just kind of insane. Obviously, cavalry should be able to run down archers, but I'm not sure that they should be able to do that to the ability that they can in Rome. And it just happens so quickly. You like turn around for a second, half your army's gone. Regardless, though, we caught it. My Scythian nobles, or my headhunting maidens, saw them, killed them, and we won the battle. It was a really fun 3v3. Tim and Tree are both way better at Rome than I am. So if you have questions about Rome or want to get into it, I might be able to help you, but they're probably better people to talk to. But I really enjoyed that battle. I enjoy using Scythia. They're a lot of fun to use because they're more of a kiting kind of army. They don't really have any good heavy infantry, but that presents a nice challenge, and they're a good complement to a phalanx faction like Greece in like 2v2s or 3v3s. I had tons of kills that battle. I had about 1,200 kills. Tim, not as many, but then again, he never really fought his opponent head on. He kind of just supported with his cavalry. Tree had 1,000 kills, and Macedonian players didn't really work super well together. I think if Alexander had rushed right off the start to help out his other 2 teammates, he could have turned the tide of that battle, but he did not do so, and we were able to capitalize. So, hope you enjoyed that snowy 3v3, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.